Hey there. So this is part two on Monday's class, or Tuesday's class 126 to 21. We already went through the first 20 slides, give or take. Answers are there for the rest of that question we looked at, so we're going to start on slide 21 in part two. So this question, go ahead and read it and try it out. It's your family goes to a restaurant for dinner. There's 6 people in your family. Some ordered chicken for dinner for $14.80. Some ordered steak for dinner for $17. The total bill was $91. How many people ordered each type? And so here's the 4 steps we really want you to try to use. Begin by building your equation by guessing, right? And keep track of your guesses so that you see the patterns that happen. So we have chicken and steak. So I usually, just make a little list here, chicken and steak. So my guess, I'm going to guess 2 people had chicken. That means 4 people had steak, right? I'm just using the information. 2 people with chicken, 4 people with steak. That gives me my total of 6. Okay, so then how much money would that be? Well, if 2 people had chicken, that was $14.80. So I have to do 2 times $14.80 plus 4 times, that one costs $17. Now, I like priding myself on my math, but I'm going to walk through, well, I'll just do it in front of you right here. Okay, so 2 times $14.80, 2 times 0 cents is 0, 2 times 80 cents is 16, so I'm going to put the 6 in there, carry the 1, 2 times 4 is 7, plus 1 is 8, and 2 times 1 is 2. So we have $28 in chicken, plus 4 times 17, 4 times 7 is 28, 4 times 1 is 2, or 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is $68. So does 28, 60 plus 68 equal 91? Let's see. So that'd be 60 cents. So I know it's not going to work because my answer doesn't have any change in it. So 60 cents, 8 and 8 is 16. Carry the 1, 2 and 6 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So $96.60. All right, spent too much money. That does not equal 91. But I want you to stop and think about, okay, do you see the pattern that's happening? If you don't, guess again. And so I'm going to guess one more time here. And I want you to pause and I want you to guess how many ate steak and chicken and see if you can walk through that. All right, so pause and come back. Did you actually pause? All right, because you should guess. Guess a different value. Let's say that we had chicken. Oh, that's really big. Let's make this smaller. Let's say we thought maybe 5 people had chicken. And then that would mean only 1 person has steak, because remember, the number of chicken plus the number of steak has to equal 6. All right. And then let's do the money. All right. 5 times 1480 plus 1 times 17. We want that to equal $91. So let's do this math. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 8 is 40. Carry the 4. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 4 is 24. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 70. So that's $74. Then 1 times 17 would be plus 17. Does that equal 91? 74, 17. Yeah, that does equal 91. We found it. We found it by guessing and checking. Okay, now pretend we didn't see that. And we could go ahead and go through these problems and say, let's let X, right? And sometimes you find it by guessing, cool. But let's still think about this. So let X equal the number of chicken meals. And let's let Y equal the number of steak meals. So then we know we could have this equation, X plus Y equals 6. And the second equation would be $14.80 times X plus $17 times Y has to equal $91. All right, maybe you guess and check and you get it right sometimes, but it's still good to practice writing these 2 equations. All right, so go ahead and walk your way through this. There is more example here for you to read through. And then if you have questions, join us. All right, try this one on your own. Okay, so go to slide 23, pause this, take some time to try to figure this out. Guess, check, generalize, define your variables, write two equations, and solve using substitution. I'll be back in a second. So here we are in this question. Hopefully you guessed it, you figured it out. If you did, skip ahead, look at the next slides, and see if you have it right. But this idea says that a package of hot dogs costs $1.60 and hamburgers cost $5. You bought a total of 8 packages of meat and you spent $23. How many packages of hamburger meat did you buy? Well, we could list out all the possibilities, right? But if we guess that we bought 3 things of hot dogs, how many things of hamburgers would that mean? Well, if we have 8 packages total, 3 plus 5 would give us that 8, right? 3 hot dogs, 5 hamburgers. So now we need to find out how much would that cost us, and does that match up to $23? Right? So I hope you're kind of thinking through how this is getting set up. But we said it's $1.60 for all 3 of those hot dogs, plus $5 for each of the hamburgers that we bought. See how I'm just multiplying those guesses right in there? All right, so 160 times 3 is 0.84. All right, so walking through that, 5 times 5 is 25. Does that equal 23? And I can see right away it's not, right? Because 25 and that is too big. So nope, that doesn't work. So let's do another guess, all right? Hot dogs, let's say we had 5 sets of hot dogs, right? Or maybe, you know what, let's say 6 sets of hot dogs. That would mean we have only 2 hamburgers. Again, 6 plus 2 gives us that 8. Maybe you're seeing that this is where we get our first equation, right? That quantity equation, that idea of how many together we have. And then if we find out how much that would cost, right? $1.60 times 6 hot dogs plus $5 times 2 hamburgers. Does that equal $23? All right, so then we do the math. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 6, that's 36. 6 is plus that is $9.60. 5 times 2, well, that gives me $10. Does that equal 23? That's 1960. Nope, that's not 23. But pause there for a second. Do you see how we found these things is exactly the same? All right, so let's make our hot dogs equal to X. So let X equal the number of hot dog packages. And let's let Y equal the number of hamburger packages. Burger. All right. And so we have X and Y. Well, we guessed here X and Y, guessed here X and Y. So really what do we need? We need the number of hot dogs and the number of hamburgers together to equal 8. So we just say X plus Y, that has to equal 8. Well, then we have to have the cost. So it's $1.60 for every set of hot dogs plus $5 for every set of hamburgers. And we know that needs to equal $23. Again, you can put the dollar sign in there. I'm just trying to remind you, one of these is a money equation this time, and one of these is a quantity equation. It won't always be money and quantity, but in this case it is, and you might see some patterns there. So those are our equations. Pause this, see if you can solve through that problem. Okay? All right. So hopefully you were able to find this out, solve it, walk through it, check your answer in the next slide. If you didn't, let's take a look. So this is my first equation, X plus Y equals 8. Right, that came from the number of hot dogs plus the number of hamburgers equals 8 total packages. I'm going to solve this for either X or Y. You can choose either, right? It's pretty easy. I'm going to subtract, well, I look at my second equation. This one seems a lot easier to distribute into, right? If I substitute in for Y, so I'm going to subtract X from both sides, and I'm going to get Y equals 8 minus X. Now, this is what I'm going to substitute in for Y, all right? So let's take the second equation, $1.60 times hot dogs plus $5 times the number of hamburgers, I'll write that there, right? Number of hamburgers equals $23. Well, now we know the number of hot dogs is equal to 8 minus the number of, well, vice versa. The number of hamburgers is equal to 8 minus the number of hot dogs. So this is 8 minus the number of hot dogs, and we're going to substitute that in right here. So I get 160 plus 5 times the number of hamburgers, but that's the same as 8 minus x, right? Those are equals 23. And this is what substitution is. We get it to one variable so that we can find that one easier, right? So $1.60 plus 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times x, right? Bring that minus down, minus 5x equals 23. Well, now we have a little math to combine $1.60x and negative 5x. So if you can't think through that, think if I have $5 and I subtract 160, all right? Or I have 160 and I subtract 5, we just know that the negative is going to win, right? Because the negative is bigger. So negative 5 plus 160 is going to be $3.40. All right? Plus 40, make sure that x is attached to it, equals 23. I'm going to subtract 40 from both sides. 23 minus 40, another negative number, negative 17. And I get negative 340 x equals negative 17. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3.40, right? Negative 3.40. And maybe you kind of can see that 34 is twice of 17, but it's a decimal, right? And so go ahead, use a calculator if you want to do that, but I'm going to show you, I'm going to go to my old school long division over here. If I have negative 17 divided by negative 3.40, what I know is, I know a negative divided by a negative is going to be positive. So I'm just going to get rid of those signs. If you remember how to divide that, we move that decimal one spot so that we're dividing by a whole number. Okay? And 3.40 is the same as saying 3.4. If you're thinking about dollars, you could do it that way and then go boom, boom. This needs to move 2 spots, 0, 0. And so now I have 340 goes into 1700, right? 340 into 1700. 3 goes into 17 5 times. So 3 times 5. I'm going to give that a shot. So we're going to say 3 goes into 175 times. So 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 0 is 0. I put my 5 in the wrong spot. This 5 should be right here, right? 5 goes in 0. 5 times 4 is 20. Carry the 2. 5 times 3 is 15. Times 2 is 17. So I know my answer is 5. So x is 5, right? X is x. That's silly. X is 5. And what does 5 stand for? 5 stands for the number of hot dogs. So, right, 5 is the number of hot dogs. Then I put it in here. If I know x is 5, I go to my next equation. X plus y has to be 8. So if x is 5, y has to be 3. And so I have 5 sets of hot dogs, 3 sets of hamburgers. I can write that as the ordered pair, 5, 3. And you have just solved the number of hot dogs, and now you can save the picnic, right? And so you can walk through here on slide 24, more of it. Again, this one was solved for x, so it's a little different way of solving it. So you can look through the same ideas, the same process, and you have 2 examples now. All right, the rest of this is up to you to do here. Take these and you can plug them in and see which ones are solutions. In slide 25, this is practicing plugging into both solutions. It was a homework problem from yesterday. Then you can always look at your work here on slides 27 and 28, or slide 27 walks through how to do those and which ones work. And then slide 28, take a moment if you haven't, write a letter to yourself. How will you do this process? All right? Do your Delta Math, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for all your work. Keep learning.